from our magic systems, all over the place. Idea generation is a very complex thing. For me, what's going on is I look for seeds of interesting concepts, and I don't really have an idea until the seeds start to combine. I actually kind of describe it like, you know, all the proto ideas are like bouncing around in my head like molecules, and or like atoms, and they form together into molecules when they stick together. You know, things like allomancy. Where did allomancy come from? Well, on one hand, it was my reading about alchemy. On another hand, it was my reading into metabolism and my science background, saying, well, you know, I want this to feel like it has one foot in something fantastical and one foot in something realistic. And so we get energy by metabolizing. And so can I work a magic system that has some sort of magical metabolizing? You eat something, metabolize it to give it a scientific feel to it. And on the other hand, it was me trying to come up with something that would have powers that would be very interesting for thieves to use. I designed the magic system to enhance what Kelsey and the crew were up to. At the same time, you know, another thing kind of pushing me was this, often limitations are more interesting than powers themselves. I wrote a whole essay about this, but if you kind of think about, like, even your favorite superheroes, and you start listing about them, their main conflicts and things, it's actually the limitations that make them interesting. Batman is interesting because of his internal sort of conflict going on inside of him. That's more interesting than what he can do a lot of times, what you can't do. You know, when you ask about Superman, you know, flying is cool, being strong is cool, but his stories are about kryptonite, or about the people, you know, his code of ethics or whatnot. It's actually the limitations that make story. And so, for instance, allomancy, you know, basically pushing and pulling is on metals is telekinesis. And a lot of people have written telekinesis stories. And yet, if you limit it directly in a way that you can only, you know, push directly away from yourself or pull directly towards yourself, and you work in the weight factor forcing you to kind of obey some laws of physics, even though it's magic, you suddenly have all these limitations, and it makes a story that much more interesting. When your characters have to be intelligent to be able to use and manipulate what they have, I think it makes for better storytelling. So that's kind of how that goes. When is the second book for the Stormlight Archive? I am working on it. It is coming soon. But soon is a relative term when the wheel of time is on one's plate. I'm finishing the wheel of time. I was supposed to, by my own deadlines, I wanted to have it done before I came on tour, and I didn't get it done. I've got maybe 20,000 words more to write, and then there's about 20,000 words of Robert Jordan's that I'm going to stick on the end of stuff that he wrote for the ending. And so it's about 40,000 words off. I've actually, my progress bar is a little bit deceptive. I've got about 300,000 words written, more like 290. So it's really close to being done. I will start right into Stormlight 2 as soon as I finish that. Plans are right now to do it and start it January 1st. And write it, these are big, involved books, and the more big and involved the book is, the longer it takes. I'm anticipating not being done until October-ish, and then publishing it the following spring. That would be my goal. So yeah, I know it's so far away. I know, but you know, I have lots of. At least we have a book this year. We weren't going to have a book this year, but one popped out. You know, it just happened. So, other questions? The earring that Vin has? That the wax has? Yeah. What is it made of? That is an excellent question. That is a really good question. You've been reading very closely. How about this? It is made of, what you're trying to figure out is if it has a hemalurgic charge. It does have a slight hemalurgic charge to it. So there you go. I'll give you that. It does have a slight hemalurgic charge. That's a little tiny bit of a spoiler for some of you. Good question. All right, let's do one more. Because question also, we are going through a repackaging of the Alcatraz books where I want to put new covers on them because I haven't been pleased with the covers. And so we're going to repackage and relaunch, and then I'm going to do the fifth one, which will be the last one. Okay, so I will answer any questions you have as you come through the line. I have actually a few little announcements that I wanted to make to you before we go, if that's okay with the bookstore folks. The first one is, this will probably take a little while. I like to chat with people. I'm not a kind of zip you through. What that means is, how about this? I will guarantee that I'm here at least until 4. And I will go until everyone's books are done. So if you wanted to go shop in the bookstore, good idea. Or, you want to go grab food or something, you're kind of in the back of the line. As long as you're back here by 4 in line, I will not leave until your books are signed, okay? That just lets you know this looks like about a 2-hour crowd, and so if you're at the back, it's probably going to take about that long. So just go ahead and know that. And speaking of the bookstore, I do like to give a shout out to bookstores who have me in. I know it is cheaper to buy your books sometimes online, and I of course can sign your books wherever you got them. But if you did that, maybe next time there's a book you want, consider coming and supporting the bookstore. Because if we don't have bookstores, we don't have book signings. Sometimes things can be cheaper online because they don't have to have event space like this. They don't have to employ people like this who do events coordination and bring me in for signings. So just think about that, or maybe on your way out, grab something at the Starbucks. You guys get a cut of that, right? Yeah. Or buy your Christmas cards here or something like that. Support the store. Let's see. I will quickly, as I sit down, I will sign this stack of 4 right here. If you just need to take off and you can't wait and you're near the end of the line, go ahead and come grab one of these pre-signed. It won't have a personalization, but you can grab it and go. And if you bought your book here, they'll probably let you swap for one of these. So I'll quickly do that. I already did writing excuses. I do have a mailing list. If you want to be on it, I used to send around pass-up sheets, and then that was so complicated, and I didn't want to carry them around and things. And so anyway, if you want to be on my mailing list, just go to my website, brandonsanderson.com, send me an email and say, put me on the mailing list. I send out about 2 newsletters a year, and I also, if you mention that you live in Vancouver, I will email you every time I come to the city. You'll get a direct email from me that says, hey, I'm coming to Vancouver at this time. Some of you may have gotten those. Did anyone get one of those? Okay, see, it works. And I don't spam you, do I? No, except when I put a typo in and we have to send a second email the next day. Sorry about that. And then they did announce that I would personalize the new book, and they just wanted, we'll just do signatures and the others. I'm flexible on that. If you have a Christmas present you've just been dying to get personalized, happy to do that. Or if you didn't bring the new book, you just have one other book, happy to do that. What we're trying to do here is kind of keep it moving along. If we can, generally keep the personalizations down and the signatures up, then I can, even if you come with a stack of 8, I can whip through those fast. It's the writing something, and that way I can do something individual to you and chat with you for a minute. So just keep in mind that, I'm happy to do even a couple personalizations if that's what you want, but just keep it in mind, all right? So I will give the microphone over here, and we'll just start going, okay? Thank you guys again for coming. A little bit about your question. How about that? A little bit more on that.
Yeah.
Tell him where the book came from, Andrea. That was bought in...
Miami, really?
Thursday morning, yeah.
Wow.
Missing the plane wasn't important. Getting the book was.
All right. Down and turn it into the There you are.